Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Digital Dating Over 50. And tonight, my guest is Richard Decker, founder of Authenti, a dating platform taking different approach to modern dating. No swiping, less pressure, and a greater focus on conversation and genuine connection. Richard, welcome to Digital Dating Over 50.
Yeah, Andrew, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to create Authenti.
Well, I am over 50. I'm hitting 62 next month, so I fit that category. You know, Authenti, I'm an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. I graduated high school, as you and I discussed, back in Rockville Center in 82, and I never had an employee since then. I started in a restaurant, and then I sweat equitied in. And being a serial entrepreneur, the one thing I found is when I look at business and business models, if it interests me, I do a deep dive and I learn about it. And I was watching, I've never participated in a dating app because one, I was married for 25 years in my first marriage. So before dating apps were out, I was already in a committed relationship. You know, it's a lot of the people who are now dating over 50, that's their issue, right? They've never participated in that world, and that world's a pretty sketchy world if you never.
Hence the name of the season. I made it over 50 because exactly what you just said. So thank you.
All right. I've seen my children who are in their 30s. I've seen my friends who are in there anywhere from 40s to 60s, you know, and just really not. In the beginning, I guess they were enjoying it because they were pretty legitimate, but then the dating app world changed into more transactional hookups, you know, situationships. And then the actual algorithms changed to make sure relationships wouldn't spawn off of the connection.
Correct.
But they want their monthly membership fee. And I'm looking at this kind of like I would imagine Uber looked at the taxis, and like we discussed before, Netflix looks at blockbusters. Like, okay, we know there are millions and millions of people out there who are lonely and want to meet other people. They're not being treated correctly. They're in a system where they're actually a product because they're actually paying anywhere from 30 to say 60, even more dollars a month to put their pictures on display for this company for non-inventory to be able to use their pictures to attract other members. And everybody then objectifies and judges, and they have all these scams, and it's just not correct human behavior. We're not designed to quickly make a judgment by looking at somebody's selfie and not know anything about them and swipe right or swipe left. It's like they did it just like the tobacco companies did the nicotine. They made you addicted to it. Like,
good analogy.
We were talking about behaviors in people before the show. And I believe we need dating apps anonymous because I actually see people who, I'm never doing it again. I'm not going to a dating app. But then 2 or 3 weeks go by and they're sitting home on a Saturday night lonely and they pick up the app. They swipe through all weekend and they're looking and seeing. And then Monday, it's like they were just on a weekend bender and they just slip being sober. And like, I can't believe I did the app. I can't believe I did this. And it's a repetitive. So I'm like, we got to, you know, like just like AN and A and NA and all these different anonymous programs out there. We need like a dating apps anonymous. So, you know, just so looking at it the same way I've done with any business I've ever owned. I've never been in that business prior to owning it. I just liked it. And then I said, I'm going to do a deep dive. Like I love to eat. And so I'm going to buy some restaurants and I'm going to make a better experience. I love to work out. Then I'm going to do some gyms. I love to dance and I did some nightclubs. I love to promote. So then I did a marketing company. I love to build. So I open construction. But before I do that, I do a deep dive to see if there's a market. Is there a business platform? Is there scalability? Is there likability? And one big piece of the pie, how does it serve the surrounding community? What does it do? What is it giving back to the community? And when you're doing brick and mortar, that's pretty easy, right? Like you said, from Rockville Center, Long Beach, we can look at the neighborhood. We know what the neighborhood needs. We can put in exactly what that general community of a 10-minute drive needs. But now when you're looking at something like this, a platform that it's not really a dating platform, it's like intentional introductions, because we're not about dating. We're about people trying to find relationships. We're like a step above, because I believe dating apps just kind of bastionized the word dating. They've made it really difficult and made it really uncomfortable.
Made it a 4-letter word. Yeah,
they made it worse than a 4-letter word because it's there's no intention with those, and you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? I think everything's like age appropriate, right? So those apps are good for your 19 to maybe 20s and maybe
like Tinder. It served the purpose. It still serves a purpose for the hookups, but for the people our age that would really like to.
It's not even our age. Let's say you're 28 years old, you're 30 years old, you're up and coming in your career. Why should your boss, coworkers, and everybody in that office get to see your profile?
Yeah, no.
Your bikini shot or see you in your muscle shirt hanging on the beach. Why? And they all do it. They all do it. They're all like, hey, did you check out a profile? Check out his profile. Oh, did you see this? You see that? So with ours, there is no. We do have a profile. We do have your information, but it does not get shared unless we've matched you with somebody based on your physical preference of what you're looking for, their physical preference, plus your onboarding questions. So we have your psychological, emotional, your likes, your dislikes. So we're like, hey, you know what? Rich or Andrew, you're matched really good with Susie, and plenty more, right? Because there's going to be millions of people on it. Would you like to be introduced? Because we're going to show you matched 60% based on your answers and your physicality request, right? And then we go what's called spark reveal. Then when you see this first image of, do you want to be introduced to this person? You're going to see a very mystique, smoked out image of them. So you're not going to get to see the whole person yet, but you'll see enough to know she looks like the height I was looking for. She has the hair color I was looking for. She has the physical fitness, whatever, body type, skin color. You're going to know that we've gotten you within your range. And then you're going to get to talk to each other inside the app. She doesn't know your last name yet because nobody could do a deep dive. You don't know her last name yet. It's all about privacy, because what happens after you start talking, it kind of like flatlines. You might have the same likes and you might have the same physicality, but when you come to this communication thing, it might just not jive. So why should you reveal those photos? So now you do jive and you get up over 70%. Then we give the control back to everything with us is, I use AI. I use the term amplified intelligence, because everything we're doing is human interaction first. And so like what AI is doing for me, it's finding those 500 people that match your physicality really quick. Right? I
Yeah.
can't do that really quick.
I like that. I like amplified intelligence.
It's not artificial. And we're not matching you by AI, because now you're going to talk to each other and we're going to monitor bits and pieces of your conversation just to see if they're authentic, to make sure there's no ghosting appearance or there's no scamming going on. There's no, manipulation. It's pretty easy to figure that out. So now you matched over 70% and you go, hey, you know what? You're at Spark Reveal now. You can now reveal whatever you want. And now, is that going to be your last name? So this individual could then do a deep dive on the internet to find out a moment in your life, maybe in 1980s, you did something stupid. But now they've gotten to know you a little bit. So they're like, you know what? This is not Andrew I met. This is Andrew when he was in his 30s. He did something stupid. He got a DWI, something stupid, whatever. Just whatever. We all have moments. And that's the thing with the other sites. You're being
do we?
Do we? But we all have moments, right? But you're not defined by your moments.
No.
Those other sites, you're defined by a moment. So they're asking you to market yourself. We're asking you to present yourself. There's a big difference. I'm not selling anything. I have to tell you at this moment, if I got to put in my profile, I have to tell you I'm 62 years old. I have to tell you I'm 6'3". I have to tell you I'm 210 pounds. I have to tell you I have dark hair. I can't tell you what I looked like 5 years ago when I was a bodybuilding competitor. I can't tell you what I looked like when I was in high school, college. Like the other sites are asking you, market your best self. So people put up photos when they're really hot and maybe they're not so hot right now. Or maybe on that full reveal, it's going to be a sharing of a photo. But now you both realize you're into hiking. Your picture is going to be of something when you're at like Mount Everest, and her picture is going to be when she's at the Grand Canyon, because you're now informed about each other. So we kind of got past the first date, what we're talking about at the dinner table, to see if we really get along. And then you kind of take it from there. So it's all about intentional. So the people coming to my site, they're looking for relationships. They're not looking for hookups. People going to the other sites are looking for hookups. And I'm okay with that. There's a business. There's a market for that. People are allowed to do that. They're allowed to be sexual promiscuous. They're allowed to do whatever. No, I'm not saying anything's going on is wrong. But I do know from the research I did, there are millions and millions and millions of people dissatisfied, just like the same. There were millions dissatisfied with the taxis. Uber did their research, and now nobody says, hey, let's hail an Uber. They just said, let's get an Uber. And then other people came out with an idea.
Uber changed the whole landscape of that transportation. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what we're looking to do with Authenti. We're looking to replace the transactional hookup, objectify products. Like one of our slogans is, we are not products, because we're not. And, let's say you're divorced. which a lot of these people dating over 50, gray divorces is climbing huge. They've never been on apps before. They don't want to go on Tinder, Bumble, or Hinge because they've heard all about it. They don't want their dignity and all that. Or they just don't want friends and family and community members know that they're on an app looking for a relationship. Nobody knows unless you're introduced to that person. And that person you're introduced to very likely is not going to run around the neighborhood. Oh, Andrew was the one I was introduced to. Because they're looking for the same privacy and dignity. Let's say you're a young widower. It happens. Matter of fact, I was interviewed on the Donna Drake show on CBS, which was a great interview. And Donna disclosed to me she was 38 years old and she got widowed because her husband died. He was a long-term illness. And then they had a deal. Find somebody to help you raise the children. And then when she went back into the field, and I think she was Real or something, when she went back out, everybody had, we call it, disregard the good opinion of others. I can't believe you're doing this. It's so soon. It's this. Well, meanwhile, she had a pact with her past husband.
Yeah, it's none of their business.
And that's the thing with the dating apps, right? You don't have any business because they're using your personal private life to promote their business. And nothing against the guy that owns Match, that owns the 3 biggest sites in the world. He became a multi-billionaire doing this. But it's the same way the nicotine companies became multi-trillionaires doing what they did. The same way taxis were monopolizing the industry. And all of a sudden, one of my friends was one of the largest medallion holders in New York City. And guess what? He doesn't have the same net worth anymore since Uber came along. And they tried everything they could to stop Uber because it was a better service. There's only one Blockbuster left in the country, and that guy's just leaving it open because he has enough money just there. He's not making any money. But I mean,
nostalgia. Yeah, nostalgia.
85% of Blockbuster was made on late fees. So this guy comes along and is like, hey, no late fees. Let's mail a disc. Remember, they used to mail discs to us. Now we're just streaming.
Yep.
But so it's not about, I'm not looking to change the industry. I'm looking to replace and be something different. Like we're a new lane. So it's not, you're not going in blind. So there's a great show. The highest rated show on Netflix right now is called Love is Blind.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Love is Blind. It's 10 years in a row right now. It's but they put like 10 males and females couples looking to get into a relationship, and you talk in an enclosed room where you can't see each other for 4 weeks.
It's like the dating game.
It's like the dating game, which was back then. So people are like, I can't make a decision not seeing people. I said the highest rating things was the dating game. Now Love is Blind, except they're done with scripts and they're done for ratings. We're bringing it to you in real life. And if you're really looking for an intentional relationship, if you're really looking for something long-term, we're the site because that's what I want to see you succeed. Because also what I did in my research, I found that there's more people entering the dating scene every year by either aging into it, getting divorced, getting widowed, than are leaving it. So why not make something more successful? Like I guarantee you there's more people taking Ubers that would have ever gotten to a taxi. And now Uber is more expensive than taxis because Uber has become an Uber convenience. It's like you don't have to worry about hailing and waving. Is it dirty? Is it clean? Does it smell? These cars are going to be conditioned. So I'm not looking to compete. I wish the dating app world a glorious do what you do.
They're doomed. They're doomed. I don't see. I've been investigating them and on them myself personally for the past 15 something years. I even was on Match back in 2008, I think, when it first came out. They served their purpose at the time. I think they were novel. I think today they are. You're right. They're designed to keep people on. I actually happened to become a lifetime member of Bumble, so. Which they offered a one-time deal. I want to go back to what you said about when you were on the Donna show. Don Drake. So statistically, women do outlive the men. All right, that's a scientific fact. So men drop dead sooner. Ironically, my dad outlived my mom, and he did something where he went out and married somebody within 6 months. And of course, the whole family was in an uproar. But I happen to know what went on between my mom and him and what she said to him and blah, blah, blah. So you can't judge that because you don't know what was written behind closed doors. I got a letter from my dad outlining what him and my mom spoke about.
Believe none of us in our independent relationships have a right to judge anyone, just like you want to be judged. But I guarantee anybody who's on those services, you're being judged and you're judging people. And you're judging them by the most difficult photo in the world to take is a selfie. That's the hardest picture
Oh,
to take, unless you're really good with filters and you put it, and you're judging them because, and the funny thing is, I think it's 66 or 70 now percent of relationships in the world, and these are all, you could fact check me on this stuff. They're with people who are not their type, which means their physical desire deceived them for many years. And then when they finally intentionally connected with someone based on thoughts and thinking and feeling, all of a sudden the hair color didn't matter, the height didn't matter, none of this mattered. What
right.
other sites are saying, I mean, men under 6 feet on these sites, the statistics of them getting swiped is 0%.
I know. It's
And
silly.
I'm 6'3". I've never been on a site, but I don't think I want to be swiped because I'm 6'3".
Yeah.
And I know some
And
fabulous dudes and women, and I've met some women, and our physicality changes, right? We're designed to change. And to judge somebody on their physicality, I mean, they could hit a gym, they could eat better, they could change, or you might like it. But
in 6 months, you could be a different person if you put your mind to it.
we do.
Yeah.
I have a podcast that I actually host. It's called Strictly Platonic, and my co-host is African American, right out of Africa, and she's beautiful, Joan Nwasu. So we couldn't be any more different. She goes in relationships with the thinking, I go into relationships with my feeling, and it's just a very different approach on how you do these things. What the idea is, what's more important, chemistry and passion, or commonality and chemistry? Like,
And I think even that depends on the person, because some people may want. See, I'll give you an
you're allowed
example.
to have that.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. And this is something that I haven't often said on this podcast, but like porn doesn't do much for me, but the verbal written word, the erotica literature, I get completely. So when if
So you
I'm
like
on Reddit,
Penthouse Forum back in the day.
yeah, oh God, yeah. So if I told a woman blah, 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 I like to erotic literature, she looks at me like I'm like, you're weird. And so the point is that not everybody fits that mold that you just described. No, I would say the majority of do, but there are people out there that,
And that changes too, right?
yeah,
We're all different shapes and sizes, and something you might not have been into with somebody else might find to be a turn on
that
with the
too.
other person, because what
Absolutely.
happens
Oh
is
my God.
the vulnerabilities go away, the trust comes up, trying something new. Wow, I didn't know I would like this. I didn't know it's what the other apps do is they kind of like, hey, let the world see who we're dating, what we're doing. And like I said, there's no, you don't, I'm up and coming in the city. Like like I said, I'm 62 years old and I'm comfortable. I have several businesses and I do my thing. So I'm not worried. But if I'm a 28 or 30-year-old kid and I want to climb up to the corporate law firm, I don't want people looking at my platform. I don't want people looking at my profile. I don't want anybody unless they be in a relationship with me. And that's even so more importantly with Authenti. And this is like one of the key things I honed in on, because so I have 2 children, 32 and 30, but then I also, and they're both men. And I have a 6-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son now. Went in for round 2, and I'm a single dad. I don't want anybody looking at my daughter unless there's an intentional reason why. So why should millions of people get to see her shots? Because that's what dating has come to. I don't know what dating is going to be like when she gets to be of dating age. But if you're a beautiful girl, you're a woman, you're being objectified, everybody in the office is seeing you, they're talking about, and it just shouldn't happen.
Well,
Really that simple. It just
go on Reddit. They're all taking their clothes off and putting them up. Hey, rate me. Rate, RATE.
I wouldn't say they're all doing it, but enough. The funny thing is, right? It takes one person to change the world, right? One person can come out and make a majestical change. For whatever reason, most of us follow the minority because the minority is doing something risque, and we
Right.
get like a little woo.
Well,
Like, if you looked at if we took 100 women and put them in the room, or 100 men and put them in the room, maybe 5 or 10% of them are doing those risque things, but they're getting more attention than the 90% who are not.
let me ask you, because you several times you mentioned, I don't want my daughter or anybody, you say profiles. In the meantime, you got Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and I can go on, of everybody out there putting themselves out there. So you could look at some content creator who's just a social, what do you call that, an influencer. And she's in there in a bikini one day, and the next day she's wearing a summer, whatever. So the profiles that are on dating apps are tamer, if that's the right word, than Instagram or TikTok.
A lot of those influencers and those UCG people are happily married. They're in relationships. This is their job. They're putting on their sales suit.
Okay. I
Putting on
agree.
the sales suit. Let me throw on that bikini and sell 10,000 of these, and I'm making me and my husband 150 grand, and we're gonna go on vacation.
A
They're
lot of times you'll
presenters.
see the husband.
So the commonality there, these UCG, these content creators, right? These influencers, they're presenters. They're selling. That's what the dating apps are telling you to do. Present yourself, sell yourself. And that's why people are putting up photos when you ask, give us a photo of your best self. You're going back 3-4 years ago. You don't look like that anymore.
No, yeah, that's a
They're not
problem.
intentionally lying. It's a part of the brain that says sell or a part of the brain that says present. And there's a big difference.
I have to ask, I don't want to say it's a new trend. It's a trend that's been around for a long time, but it is now no longer taboo. And that's the kink world. And it's popping up everywhere. So these websites, SDC, FetLife, and I can go on AFF. And then there's the clubs popping up in every city. There's always used to be one, but it was underground. Now they're right out front, sex club. And the community, the kink community, is now like the gay community did. They're celebrating the fact that they can come out of the closet. On your Authenti, does somebody's sexuality get asked about? Like, so walk me through this. Do I go in and fill out an application? Do I fill out questions?
You're going to come in, you're going to fill out an onboarding. Your onboarding is going to have to do with your age, your sex, your sexuality, what you're looking for, male or female. You could be a guy looking for a guy. You could be a girl looking for a guy, but that's it. That's where we stop. We don't do the pronouns. We don't do any of that. We keep it basically, if it's a man looking for a woman, and then you have a range. I'm 50. I'm looking for somebody between 40 and 60, whatever. I want them within 5 or 10 miles of my home, so it's easy to commute. And then you're going to have onboarding questions about hobbies and likes and philosophies. There's 10 of those, and they're all multiple choice, and you get to answer 5 of them. This way, that's where I use my amplified intelligence, because I could really quickly say, oh, wow, these guys are really close to answering the same questions. These guys, they have the physicality, but they don't have the questions. That's why we give you, when you want an introduction, it could be 30, 40, 50. It could be, it could be high, it could be low. We're going to give you then the opportunity. Do I want to get to know this person I'm being introduced to? As to what they prefer to do behind closed doors, that's none of Authenti's business. That's for them to decide when they become somewhat of a relationship. But you'll find a lot of the people in those demographics, as you said, the kink world, the scammers, they're not going to places like Authenti. They're going to places where like-minded. Then they don't want to. They want to go to a crowded swimming pool. They don't want to come into something. Well, this is about intentional relationship.
You're right. They would go to FetLife. Yeah. They would go to a website that
they're going to go to Grindr. They're going to go to Tinder. They're going to go where like-minded people are. And also with us, everything's free until you get to the introduction. And for the founding members, I believe we're only going to be charging $19.99 a month. So it's nothing because it's new. So we want people to get to try. It's not that we want to undercut anybody's price, but we're really different because you've been used to swiping and we have no swiping.
Can you say
people who are scamming and doing that backdoor kind of thing, they're not going to pay the $19. There's enough scamming and stuff for them to do out. They won't pay $1. A thief is a thief, and a scammer is a scammer. They take pride in what they could do for nothing.
For $19, they're going to make back 100 times that in 2 days. I do a little scam baiting on the side, and I am friends with people that go after the scammers, the romance scammers.
Yeah.
Oh God, I just had a question for you. So
my partner just came home.
So
where you been all day?
So, two things. What cities are you the most affluent in? Like, I know you're on the East Coast. So if I joined, is your database large enough to get me a match in Long Island, New York City area?
Yeah. So what we're doing is when you do apps like this, you have to go city by city. It's not a nationwide launch. Like the other app I'm doing now that has to do with sport, fitness, and nutrition. That's nationwide. But when you're doing a dating app, so right now we're just doing New York City. There's 4 million people in New York City on dating apps. How scary is that, right? You have a 10 million population, almost half is on dating apps. And
that means half.
Articles every week about how terrible the dating situation is. So we stay in New York for about 3 months. We try to get up to 10,000 members because that's enough in the database to where you can, from New York, Long Island, Queens, so that's 0.004%. And then I believe we're going to Chicago. And from Chicago, we're going out to Austin because we know demographically where the most people are dating. On
Austin
dating apps.
comes up a lot. This is the
Austin's like
third
a hot area.
time.
Great
Yeah.
city. Great city. And after that, then we're going to be nationwide. Like I have people who are on the app now from Canada talking to people who are from New York. And I know this because they directly message me and they're like, your app is great. I love this person, but we're thousands of miles away. That's why we're doing, the 3 cities first. We get to work out bugs. We get to see how the people are migrating within the app because you really just want to make it the best. Like when I do my restaurant, so I want to know everything that's going on from the time you walk in to your appetizers, to your drinks, to your entrees, to your dessert, because all of those individual moments are what we call events. From the time you're on board to the time you start talking, to the time you date, to the time you get off. And what happens is, especially with something like this, I want people to say, we were simply introduced on Authenti. That's how I found my partner. That's how I found my relationship. Because then word of mouth takes over the growth of the business. Same as Uber. I mean, they didn't go crazy after the taxi. They let the consumer. So I'm building this for the consumer and the community to make it like a, what's the word that we try and use? Oh, I forget. It's like we're building like a movement.
Okay.
This is a movement to a more intentional way to get into a relationship, because when you go into something with intention, just like the other sites, they go into hookups intentionally. They know that they're a traveling businessman or traveling businesswoman. They just want that hookup for the night. They have the site. They're going to hit it. They're going to have a date.
Oh, yeah.
They land. They're going to go out. And that's fine. I'm not.
But that's not what you're doing.
It's nutrition apps. I don't tell people, don't abstain from anything. Enjoy what you want. Everything is fine. I'm not here to judge anybody. I just want to give you better service.
Are you advertising? Are you, whether on radio, TV?
Right now, we're not doing any paid ads because we want to grow organically. We want to see where the people are enjoying the most and where that journey part goes. And then you go into, I believe it's the proper way to do it, because we're not a Tinder, Bumble, or Hinge. They advertise like crazy. We don't even allow advertising on our site. Okay, with Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge, a lot of advertisers push through. What happens is when you join Authenti, we'll have partners, and you'll get an email from the partner. Hey, since you're a member of Authenti, come to our hotel or come to our resort or come to
I've heard that many of these. Yeah. So yes. So some of them are partnering. So when I get introduced with Jane, the restaurant will say, hey, you can have your first date here and there's a percentage off or something.
Instead of that restaurant popping up in the middle of your search, we're doing it more. We're doing direct to the consumer. It's called like direct consumer marketing. People who would be interested, right? Why send a restaurant advertising to somebody out of the blue? Or send it to a new dating couple. Hey, congratulations, we hear you on your first date. Come to us, drinks are on, whatever the restaurants want to do. And we make sure all that advertising is above snuff. Like, it's about protecting our consumer. It's about privacy. It's about integrity. It's about dignity. It's about safety. Like I said, especially for women. Women are so outnumbered on the dating apps and so objectified for being on the dating apps.
Yep.
I think it's shameful, but it's just, it can and will change because women are eager to meet men.
What's your percentage of your database in New York right now, women to men?
Right now, we're about 60% women, 40% men, because women are finding comfort level because they don't have to just throw up their pictures. That's the concept. When I talk to women in public, like, this is great because I don't mind people seeing what I look like, but I don't want them looking at it if I have no interest in them. Like, why does this person get to check me out? Why? So we're new, right? We're new. We're about 2 months out. We're just deciding how and what to navigate marketing and PR. We're doing a lot of podcasts. We did the CBS interview. I have a couple more long form interviews coming up.
Keep doing them.
Because it's all you got to, because it's about awareness. It's not about selling. It's not about pitching. It's just like, make people aware that there's something better out there.
Get your name out there.
I remember when Uber first came out, so I'm in the Hamptons. So I'm like 2 hours outside of New York City. So it took a while to get out here because they really penetrated New York to get the name out. And I remember I specifically remember I'm out at a golf outing. We're having a couple of drinks and we go back home. It's like only like 6 o'clock. And my buddy's like, we're going back into town. It's I can't go back in town. We had a couple of drinks. He goes, no, there's this new thing, Uber out here now. Because out in Hamptons, taxis didn't exist. Like, it would take you like 2 hours to get a cab. So if you went out and you wanted to get home, you got to start calling cabs at 10 o'clock for somebody to show up at midnight, And then I was like, wow. So Uber grew that way. That's the best way to grow movements, is organically through the consumers, which means as a business, we're putting our best foot forward because I'm counting on that user to be my best advertising tool. I'm not counting on my paid meta ads. I'm not counting on flooding the market. I'm not counting on, having some kind of fancy sales pitch. I'm counting on getting those people organically involved in the movement. And that person is going to tell their neighbor, their cousin, and their friend. It's the same as when I built my restaurants. We didn't want to be a bar in the neighborhood. We wanted to be the neighborhood bar. You really want to be that community. And this is it's just bigger, right? Because now your community is national and soon to be international. Like I said, Canada is already participating. So I'm eager. I have some people who are going to be, what do we call them? Ambassadors.
Okay.
So they do what I'm doing here, but they're in Canada and they're known.
So walk me through the onboarding process again, because I'm interested. I'm on 3 dating apps and I've been on them for forever, and nothing has come about them. Although I haven't.
What's come about is the net of all those apps have made a lot of money.
Well, 2 of them are free. Hinge and Facebook don't charge, and I'm not. They would like to, but they have a free version, and I don't pay it.
Premium, right?
Right. But it works. But you got to update it. You got to maintain it. You got to change your pictures, like you said. It was 6 months old.
I'm glad you brought that up. So, and I didn't mean to interject you, but I actually
go.
Yes, I did it. One of our key terms that we use in the office is set it and forget it, because you're going to come in. People spend 280 hours a year on a dating app swiping. That's 2.5 months worth.
I believe it.
You're going to come into us. You're going to set it and forget it. You're going to put in everything about Andrew. You're going to throw in your picture. You're going to put in your profile. You're going to answer your onboarding questions. Now we go out and do all the swiping for you. We don't do any swiping, but I'm saying theoretically, we do
the search and match.
Boom. You set it. You wait. You get a notification from us. And the only time you pay, and you pay only once, is when you want to be introduced. So as soon as you get through the paywall and say, okay, I want to meet these women who are matching me, I pay my $19.99 a month, and then your monthly subscription starts. And if you stay active as a founding member, your price is definitely going to go up. And we'll probably guess on my research and stuff, we'll probably end up somewhere in the $49 to $59 a month place. But that's any of the founding members, they're locked in, they never go up. So it's like a reason for them to join early, to test it, to kick the tires. And because they're going to be, like I said, this is a movement. We're not creating, I only use the word dating app so people could understand what we're talking about. Just like Uber had to use the word taxi in the beginning, but it's not used. You never hear anybody say, I'm going to hail an Uber.
No, actually, it was called rideshare. I think the initial thing
Uber.
was,
well, it's kind of like, we want to become Kleenex in the tissue world.
Yeah.
Or Zoom in the video. Like everybody thinks this is Riverside, right?
The generic term for virtual meeting is Zoom now, but there's 50 other platforms. Like I'm on Riverside, and then you got Zencaster, and then you got I'm going to draw a blank, but there's 15 other. So I come on and fill out all my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is the part I'm confused about. You find a woman that I might like. What about her?
Onboarding questions. You're going to say, I'm looking for somebody. You're going to have the age.
Okay.
Female. You're going to have the age. You're going to put in height, and then you have an option if you want hair color. You're open to all. You have an option if you want religion, or you're open to all. You have an option if you want ethnicity, or you're open to all. You have an option fit, short, tall, fat, skinny. So you're going to describe to our best. If you got to close your eyes, that this is what I want to date. So now we have the physical. We have your physicality, their physicality. And then you have the onboarding questions where that's where your percentages go up or down. So then we bring it back to you and we say, Andrew, Susie matches you by 40%, and we show you the blurred out picture. Would you like to be introduced? And that's when then you two take over after.
What about her? Does she get a voice?
She gets the same thing. So it'll be Andrew. So if you both don't agree on being introduced, no harm, no foul.
What if one of us does? I say, yeah, I want to meet her. And she says, no, he's not. I don't like.
She's probably only saying no because the percentage is not there. She's not saying no because the way you look. She hasn't seen the way you look. She's not saying no because.
So we both have to agree.
Don't have enough money. Like, listen, the other sites, like one of my buddies. I love him.
Evil laugh.
He's a dear friend. But he's got a home here, a home in New York, a home in Florida, a yacht, plane. Of course, she's going to get swiped all the time.
Right.
Man goes on more dates than I could count in a year than I ever would, and he's so.
But he's getting hooked. Those are trophy models on his boat.
Or or he'll be, he'll get, seduced by one of these companies, pay $50,000, we'll find you the perfect match. I'm like, dude, if you pay 50 grand, you only find that somebody wants more than 50 grand. Just
Yeah.
put yourself out there and put nothing. Because I said, you're meeting people based on the wrong premise. Okay. They're coming to you because your wallet just made you look like, the hottest guy, you're like Thor, like you're like a
Yeah.
Greek god.
Yeah.
Let them get to know you before they know. And that's what's really good about Authenti, right? Because there are celebrities. They want to meet people. There's spokesmen, and they can't go on these other platforms because one, their privacy. People will talk and do this. But two, are you liking me because I'm Rich Decker, or are you liking me because I'm a co-host of Channel 7 News and you want to be walked around? We give you an opportunity to authentically get to know each other. And then you know what? The brass ring at the end of the day is all that other stuff fall into place? Or do you know what? Does all that stuff even matter? Because if you look at, and I've done this research too, because I'm really interested now in the relationship world, the top performers in most industries, from anywhere from sports to, TV personalities, movie celebrities, finance people, politicians, everybody, they never got to the pinnacle of their careers until they found that one love. And that person stuck with them thick and thin, no matter what, and always had their back. And then it's like, and we also do it with fictional characters too, right? You got Rocky and Adrian, you have Shrek and Fiona,
Yep.
you have Beauty and the Beast, the most unlikely, because it was about that. I mean, the one I love the best is Kurt Warner, one of the most famous NFL quarterbacks who didn't get drafted until he was like 32, who never gave up on his football dream, went from here to Canada. He was a supermarket clerk. There's a great movie about him. And his wife was his pillar of strength. I mean, they couldn't afford food. They were getting evicted. They couldn't, and she just keep with your dream. And then he gets grabbed at 32 and he's a double MVP, 2 Super Bowl winners. And it's because of that love that was there. You have that love with that other partner, you're conquering anything. And I could go down the list from politicians to finances. They didn't find it until they had that. And even, it was just an article, I think it was in Wall Street Journal or the Times, of all the Hollywood celebrities who had the magical relationship before they made it, and they lived through it. They didn't get divorced. They didn't meet while they're in Hollywood. They were high school sweethearts. They were this, and their love, and they're Denzel Washington is one. I can't go through the whole list, but that just shows you how powerful love and intentionality is.
So for the folks who are listening and they don't see, so by the way, this will be on YouTube and Spotify. Behind Richard is Authenti's logo. There you go. He ducks out of the way, and it's very nicely done. How did you come up with Authenti?
That's what I do with the businesses and stuff. I look at what we're doing and say, what could be the name? Like, I designed the logo and the name because it's like, you want to be authentic, but doesn't have a spin to it, right? You want to be one name. Like, I had to be Authenti for the website, but I was able to get Authenti on the App Store because we have a trademark, and there was somebody else using Authenti for something else, and they booted them. And the logo is the infinity, the 8.
I see it.
Where it goes through, and the bow and arrows. That's Romeo.
I like it. Yeah, it's catchy.
What I do in the business. So being a serial entrepreneur and never working for anybody since high school. So 44 years, I've paid my own paycheck and had thousands of employees. I create my own marketing. I create my own logos. I create my design because they're basically my babies. It's like a gestation period when you're bringing businesses, and people don't realize it's not as easy as it looks. It's a lot of discomfort, a lot of pain, but just like giving birth to a child and then raising a child, it's a lot of discomfort, a lot of pain, but a lot of pleasure.
I feel compelled to tell the audience this story, and if you decide later it's not good, we can take it out. But I get pitched guests, right, from emails and from PR firms, and I have a couple of sources. And Richard was pitched to me, or I think actually Laura or somebody was, whatever.
Laura. Yeah.
And we meet. We tonight was a 6:30 meeting, and we meet, and within 5 minutes we found out we went to the same high school in the same town.
Yeah.
And his brother, who's a couple of years older than him, was actually in my grade. So Richard was a couple of years behind me, but we were reminiscing about the principal, the vice principal. So I just wanted the audience to, in 300 episodes, I've never run across anybody who grew up in my town. So it was pretty wild.
Same school, same high school,
same high school. We were
same same pub, same tavern, same everything.
We were. So I thought that was I just wanted to share that with the audience. That was the first for me. Richard, I love it. And I will talk to you afterwards about uh, onboarding. I think I'd like to try that because what I have is not working. And but what I like about what I don't like about the dating apps is you got to spend some time there. Like tonight, I don't have time to go to bed and sit in bed and swipe. I'm just not. If I get a notice, I'll look at it. But you, I can come on and fill it out, and then you'll contact me when there's something, right?
Set it and forget it. We contact you. Would you
Thank
like
you.
to be introduced? And you know what? I look at a lot of people who help our world greatly, especially in the last few years. First responders, nurses,
Cool.
doctors, they
Yeah.
don't have the time to be on a dating app and they want a
No.
relationship, but they also don't want to be on a Tinder, Bumble, or a Hinge. They want to be somewhere that's a like-minded, and somebody who's intentionally listen. If anything, your listeners hear that I'm saying today, we're about intentional connections. We're not about hooking up. We think hooking up is great.
Yeah.
There's other sides
But
to
it's
it.
not what you. Yeah.
We're about finding a long-term relationship. We're about respect, dignity, privacy. We're about people who maybe the physicality does mean something to all of us. I do believe there is a physical attraction, but I also believe when you connect with somebody emotionally, your physical standards might come down a little bit. So you know what? He doesn't have the physique that I want, but you know what? He's checking every other box. And
That's
then I challenge people. Your physicality thing has gotten you here. You're
yeah.
40, you're 50.
I was going to ask you that. What happens if we match? Like she says, "Oh, I like his physical stats, but I didn't. I don't. He's a nerd, and
You're not going
you
to go
know,
past it. So that's what I mean. So you get into, so now you're onboarded, right? We say you match 50%. Let's just use
right?
the onboarding number. So now you're going to see the smoked out mystique image of each other. So at least, you know, we've gotten the physicality pretty close
Gotcha.
to what you want. Now you're going to talk. If the sparks fly and we call it spark reveal, that's our algorithm, then it's going to go. And as soon as it gets over 70%, that's when you share the real pictures, your last name. That's when you share the
Okay.
thing that the other
Yep.
websites are putting up front. We're holding that back because we don't believe anybody has a right to see what you look like physically, get to know your last name,
I like that.
your income, get to know anything that's going to get them to make a decision based on what you are instead of who you are. We're not about the what's, we're about the who. We're not about the moments, we're about the present.
Last question, and then we're going to begin to wrap up. What sets you aside from a matchmaking service, or are you just a different type?
Where like if you wanted to even put us in that category, it's modern day because matchmaking is looking for vetting you. We're not vetting you. Matchmaking is looking for anywhere from 2,500 to 50,000, 100,000,
Oh,
depending on what you're
yeah,
doing. I mean, I hear stories of young, beautiful women and men, good looking dudes in their late 20s paying $5,000 to get matched with somebody. Stop.
that's
70%
low.
of people between 18 and 30 haven't gone on a physical date yet because of this. And what happened also with that generation, like if this is dating over 50, I understand, but that generation, they got hit with COVID, man. They were on lockdown for 3 years,
Hmm. Oh yeah,
turned into like digital dating. And for those of us who are dating over 50, you're not going to want to be, you're not going to go to the Tinder, Bumble, or Hinge because, you know, they're asking for things up front that you wouldn't give to anybody because and this is the way to go about it because now you're going to get to know someone before we're taking out the first date, we're taking out the second date. So by the time me and you meet for coffee or meet for a drink, we know each other.
yeah.
We're actually, we're actually comrades already in a little bit. Now, where's it go romantically? I can't guarantee anything.
And I'm going to say this because I've been talking about it for weeks is that over 50, there are times when people end up spending. So let's say you went through a divorce that wiped you out. I just got new teeth, which I got those implants, which I think that'll wipe you out. That's the price of a Lexus. All right. And so, but um, that meaning where I'm going is that there goes my $10,000 matchmaker that I can't afford. I know I'm not, but your service I think is something that I could do $19.99 a month. You know,
Listen, and
so
the only reason, like I said, we're doing $19.99 a month because we need to build up the database in the launch cities. The end price after probably the next 6 months will be $59.99 a month because we're a better service than what else is being out there offered, and we want intentional people there.
as long as you got a database to back it up,
It's
yeah.
just it's
If
the same
you
story. Like if you come out too high, then it's going to take too long to build the database. I mean,
no
the
people
dating
will
app
join.
world is such a bad state. You know, if you peel off a $20 bill to, you know, because then you can decide, I like it, I'm on it for 3 or 4 months. You're in for $80. I don't like it, I'm out. You know, we're not,
Yeah.
like I said, you're freemium, right? All the other sites call it freemium. until you get introduced. So you could onboard today, at beauthenti.com. You go and onboard today. You're not going to pay me nothing until I bring you an introduction. And that's probably the way we do that is because we're building the database for the introduction.
If I say no, if we both say no, does the price still kick in or?
No.
You
have to be when you be introduced and you go in and you get introduced and then the price.
Right.
Well, sorry, you're correct. When you ask, I'm sorry, I lied to you. I'm a liar.
Right.
When you ask to be introduced, that's when you go through the payroll because we need to do the billing before we get to introduce you. But the good thing about that is now you're opened up to introductions and they're probably going to continue to grow.
So they might roll. So if we say no this week, but next week there might be 2 more.
Then they get a roll.
Okay.
As the database builds, there's going to be a lot. And like I said, you're not going like this and looking for that person. You're going to go to sleep.
Like the hamster wheel. No.
280 hours. Can you imagine 2.5 months of work people put into dating apps?
No, I'm
and
done.
Only 3% of people who go on dating apps succeed, and 97% of the people on dating apps have been on for 4 or 5 years. That's a lot of money they're making by this addictive behavior.
Yep. Oh yeah,
it's exactly like the cigarette industry and nicotine.
And what's worse is half of them own all of them. So we're not going to go through this.
He owns the 3 top ones. I got nothing. Listen, go baby. You're making a ton. It's your business model. I love it.
Richard, tell everybody where they can find I guess they log onto a website or they download the app.
We're actually on the App Store. Okay.
So Apple and Google?
Apple and Google. So when you go in app stores, unfortunately, they're just like everything else, like in Google, until you start ranking, you have to search for it a little bit. It's not going to pop right up for a couple of months. You could go to beauthenti.com and on the computer, you hit download the app. You do it on your phone. And you hit download the app, and if you're on an Android, it'll take you to Google. If you're on an Apple, it'll take you automatically to Apple. So that much we could simplify for everybody. And within the next 3 or 4 months, we'll be in one of the top rating. When you put in Authenti, they'll pop right up because it takes a while for the SEO and the ASO to get out. So
we go to the website, download the app, and then log in and proceed with the onboarding. Okay. Where do we find? Do you have social media? You're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook?
Yes. All Authenti. Everything's Authenti.
Authenti.
Yep.
Okay.
Any personal questions they have for me, it could be richard@beauthenti.com. I have no problem talking direct to consumers.
Okay. 30 seconds. Go. Give us your last pitch and we'll say goodbye.
Well, I'm intentionally looking forward to meeting you all on Authenti for intentional introductions and really just having a better way to meet people.
I love it. And to the audience, I will be downloading this tonight. I don't know if I'll get to it tonight, like fill it out, but how long does it take to fill it out?
3.5 minutes, maybe. I don't know. How long can you do multiple choice questions? We take.
Okay.
You got to put in your name, your date of birth, your physicality, and then you're answering your onboarding questions.
And then the pictures?
Long time. The pictures you can upload now. You can upload them down the road.
Okay.
Because you're not leading with your pictures.
Right.
You need your pictures to be matched with somebody because physically they don't know. But if you want to do the onboarding, then upload your pictures tomorrow. And you could change these all the time. You go, oh, this is a better picture for me. Oh, is it doing that?
Which you're supposed to do anyway. You should update them. If it's 6 months old, they're old. So, Richard, thank you. I love it. I really do.
Okay, buddy. Hold on. Sorry. Apologize for that.
That's fine. We'll take that out. All right. Listen. Thank you very much, and we'll be seeing you on Authenti.
All right.